Hi everyone, this is Mindy Eggen and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be adding a bit of a wow factor to our die cuts. Now, it's been a while since I played around with the lovely layers from Honeybee Stamps, and this set totally caught my eye. Now, first, I want to show you the products that I will be using. This is the Lovely Layers window. It is a beautiful window scene that you can have some florals around. You will need this to create the card that I'm going to make today. This is kind of your base set. And then I have the Lovely Layers window holiday add-on. So I'm going to turn this into a Christmas window scene. Now, my wow factor is going to come more towards the end when I'm putting my card together, so be sure to stick around for that. I do have the video sped up quite a bit. In the beginning here, I am pretty much showing you the layers that I already die cut out and the dies that match it. So you can get an idea of what pieces you will need and what they are creating. You have your base layer, which is the white cardstock piece. You have your trim underneath the eave, which is the brown. I have like a spearmint color for the part that's going to add like our rooftop. Then we have a little, what do we call it, balcony that I die cut. I'm going to be adding a swag with some bows to my balcony, but there are so many options in this set. You can have snow on the top of your peaks. You can have curtains. You can add a wreath. I think there's candles in this set. There is also a string of lights that would be really pretty. You have shutters. I don't know if I said Christmas tree yet, but you can have a Christmas tree in your window. So lots of options for this. Now, a lot of the pieces I'm using are coming from the holiday add-on, but you do need to have kind of your base layer, or not the base layer, but the windows you would need from that main set. I do plan on creating with that main set, but since we're kind of starting to lead into Christmas a little bit, I really just thought this window set was beautiful, and I decided to go with kind of the swag that's going to be hanging on my balcony. Really hard decision though. I did already have the lights cut out just in case I changed my mind. So the first thing that I always do, which I'm not showing on screen here, is I die cut everything from white cardstock and then I kind of layer it together to give me an idea of how things are going to layer up, what's going to be on top. And then that leads me to choosing my cardstock. And what I do with my cardstock is I have a ring full of cardstock swatches and I kind of go through and pick out colors that match. Now, all of these colors are coming from Tailored Expressions. This one I think is raspberry sorbet for the curtains. I know I did the rooftop house in spearmint, and I'm not 100% sure on the window or the swag, but I will look those up and get everything linked down in the video description. So I will have those specifically listed out for you. So I did decide to go with the light green rooftop and then having dark green for the frame of my window. I found that inspiration off of Pinterest, just kind of Googling or looking up on their holiday windows or holiday rooftops is how I come up with that color inspiration. Some of these items I will add shading to, like this one, I did the spearmint just off on the side, but a lot of times I am not adding that shading, which is a little different for me. Typically, I will add the dimension by using my ink blending, but some of the pieces are pretty small, and I felt like it would just be too hard to get that on there where I would lose the color of the cardstock. In most cases, too, I am just using liquid glue to attach my pieces because these are a layering die set. It's going to be built up in dimension just by adding all of those layers. So I didn't feel I needed to add a lot of foam squares or foam tape to it until I get to adding it to the front of the card. Now you're going to see here that I mess up. I went ahead and glued my rooftop down to the trim, but then after I looked at some pictures that Honeybee Stamps provides, I realized that this needed to go on top. Now I do have that little bit of trim there that had some glue stuck to it or card stuck to it. So I just die cut another piece and no one is going to know any different except all of you. Now I'm adding my curtains behind my window. So I had already assembled my window previously. I'm adding the curtains behind it. And I am just going to have a plain glow coming from my window. So you can see I have an arch piece kind of die cut there over on the right hand side. I believe that came from the original window set. So the Lovely Layers window has two different sizes. This is the larger size to fit perfectly behind my window. I started out with a yellow from Pinkfresh Studio. it was a little bit too bright of a yellow, too yellow. So I'm going to come in with more of a warm orange. Again, I will have these specific colors listed down below in the video description. I liked this kind of added orange to it. It really warmed it up. But an idea I had was possibly turning this into a light up card. I didn't have a lot of time to figure that all out, but that is something I want to try. And then once I have that glow in the window, I can add my frame over the top. So now I have just this beautiful glowing window. I didn't line it up quite perfectly, so I just trim off any excess so you don't see any orange peeking up behind my window frame. Another thing that is included in this set is you can have icicles or you can have some snow coming off the rooftop. Being that I live in Wisconsin, we definitely have snow on our rooftops. I didn't do the icicles today, but that would be super cute. So I added the rooftop piece or the snow that goes on the very top of the roof. And then I added my window. So there are also these little pieces that have one side has kind of a straight edge and the other side has that little snow piece. You just want to add or attach these pieces next to the frame that have the flat edge, if that makes sense. Once you have it in person, it definitely will make sense. But I'm just lining up that flat edge with the window frame. So it looks like the snow kind of caught on the layers of the roof. Then we have this little arch frame that I had layered up. I am going to add some thin foam squares behind this just because I feel like that would be popped up a little bit, um, kind of more than the window frame itself. So I just trimmed down my thin foam squares, added them to the back of that, and then added that above my window frame. So as you may have seen in some of my videos, I do like to step up my die cuts by doing ink blending, which I kind of did today just a little bit, but the wow factor or the part that's going to make them go, oh my gosh, what is that, is coming more when I am done putting everything together. It's going to be more of one of my last things that I do because it's going to need time to dry and I also need to get it attached to the card before I add it so I don't get my finger in it. And it's just one of those things to step up, especially when you are using snow. It's kind of my favorite type of holiday cards to make is anything with snow on it because there are lots of ways that you can add sparkle and shine to your cards. All of these products are brand new, so that they are just released from Honeybee Stamps. You can find them over on their website, or I will have a few other options for you as well. So I'm just finishing off with adding my little swag there to the bottom and then a couple bows to each of them. And Honeybee Stamps is going to have some examples and a kind of a guide sheet on different ways that you can assemble your windows. So definitely check that out. So here is my finished window. I love how this came out. It is perfect as is. It is the cutest little rooftop with the window and the balcony. Now for a background or for a card front that I'm going to add to this, I just have a piece of Hammermill cardstock cut to 4¼ by 5½, and I'm going to add a little bit of ink blending to the background. I started out with a powder blue and notice that I'm kind of keeping the center white, so I'm having that highlight there. I did a little bit of, I think it was blue denim, and then I'll have to link the purple from Gina. I can't remember offhand which one it was, but I added that little bit of purple towards the top and the outer edges. Now I'm going to add some foam tape to the back of my rooftop here, and then I can place this on the front of the card, kind of down towards the bottom because I still need to add a sentiment to this, which I thought would look good at the very top of my card panel. Now, I really did need to have that window added to my card front because I want to add splatter using some white paint. And with snow, it doesn't matter if there's a house in there or not, it's going to snow over everything. So that is why I made sure to wait to add my splatter until I had this attached to the card front. I'm adding it to an acrylic block and just flicking that white paint off of my block and then giving that a second to dry, or you can speed that up with a heat tool. And here is where the magic happens. So I have glossy accents and I'm adding that to the top of all of the snow pieces. What I'm going to do is take some, it's called fluffy snow, and I'm going to sprinkle that over all of the areas I have the glossy accents. Now, again, there are numerous ways you can do this. You could use just a liquid glue that dries clear. You could use a rock candy, Prisma glitter, anything will work with this. This is just a brand new product from Tailored Expressions that I hadn't tried yet, and it's how do I explain it? It's circles, so it's kind of like little pieces of confetti that sparkle and shine with an iridescence to them. It's a little harder to see on the white. It stands out really, really well on that dark green cardstock. So you will see that better in the pictures with that green cardstock. But it's just a way to step it up and really give it kind of that snowy feeling. So here is a close up of that. I'm going to let that dry because we need that glossy accents to be dry. Again, there are many ways that you could add a little bit of that sparkle and shine to your panels. This was just the way that I chose to go today. Now, for my sentiment, I'm going to be using this brand new stamp set. This is called Sending Christmas Joy. I do have plans to color up those images, and right now I just wanted to use the sentiment. And I couldn't decide at first which sentiment I wanted to use, so I'm just going to go ahead and stamp two of them at the same time. I'm using the Honeybee Stamps Intense Black ink. They are fairly fine lined sentiment, or it's a scripty font. It's very delicate, I guess is the word I want to use. So I stamped it very gently twice to get that intense color. When I'm die cutting my sentiment, I die cut out 3 more pieces from my Hammermill cardstock to layer up and create the dimension. Since this is kind of fine lined, a little trickier to add foam squares to, I decided to go with the sentiment that says, sending Christmas joy. The other one said I think it said from our home to yours, which would also look super cute for this card. And then I can just add that sentiment towards the top where I left that space, and it is done. I really love how this came out. I think this is a beautiful, lovely layers set. This one again is the holiday theme. You will need both the holiday add-on and also the lovely layers window to create that. But you can just create the lovely layers window on its own if you want more of a spring or summer themed card. All of the supplies will be linked down below in the video description and over on my blog. If you enjoyed today's video, I would love it if you gave a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below what your favorite part of the card was, and I will see you again soon.